Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are go. All systems are launch and just starting up here on Neoplanet S. Down to the bottom left-hand corner is going to be Xenocider. He is going to be our red Terran player, and up in the top right-hand corner is ZergAssassin as our blue Protoss. Joining us now is Joj. Joj, say hello. It's nice to have you back on here.
Hi, everybody. I am glad to be here. I'm excited to cast this PVT. I'm particularly excited to talk about Xenocider. He's the brand spanking new addition to Team EG. He's his addition to EG is EG kind of going back to its roots as a North American team and as a team that develops some talent rather than kind of grabbing talent as it rises to the top. And I'm really curious to see how Xenocider does. As far as I know, this is his first tournament on under the EG flag.
Well, and that's true. He's qualified for the WCS Season 1 America under the Challenger League, but he does like to play a macro style. So we'll see how that works out for him. His opponent, unfortunately, ZergAssassin, I'm not able to get a whole lot of info out of him. Protoss versus Terran is always an interesting matchup. We do have a Rax first very, very quickly. Does he take the gas? That's the interesting. Okay, gas is taken, so we could perhaps see some Reapers coming out of Xeno in the very near future. Certainly a play that is certainly popular on this particular map. Let's just talk about Neoplanet S. Drops are pretty heavy. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this map is really great for drops. The third base for Protoss is going to be really, really difficult, basically. The way that the either third base choice is presented is you're going to be exposing yourself to a lot of different pressure points for Terran to drop, or even just like snipe your third entirely. And so this map can be problematic for Protoss, so I wouldn't be surprised to see either some kind of timing or very conservative defensive play from the Protoss end of things.
Yep, and indeed a Reaper is in production and on the way out. It looks like the probe is fleeing with a SCV hot on his tail. In fact, SCV is just going to continue on and heading on up to ZergAssassin's base. ZergAssassin grabbing a cybernetics core, one gas. Looks like a gateway. It looks like a gateway first into a nexus, and perhaps just like the last game. Although I'm kind of leaning towards also seeing a 4-gate build. This map certainly does reward early pressure. Another gas being taken very quickly as well. And we do have a probe on the far left-hand side of the map tucked away in the corner. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that could be a setup for something further down the line. However, I mean, it could also be just a hidden probe so that you can come back in and get a scout off, because he scouted the early gas from the Terran player, right? The Protoss scouted the gas, and so he knew that some kind of mobile unit was going to be out on the map, whether that's Reapers or Hellions or whatnot. So having that probe over there is nice as a later scout, but he does start on a pylon.
Yeah, and he's starting to bank up a little bit of minerals as well, and some gas as well. Reaper is actually doing a lot of damage here. We do have a Stalker coming out. Unfortunately, one probe does ultimately die. Two do die, so this Reaper has paid for himself, certainly. I stand corrected, he's taken a 3. So he has indeed paid for himself quite well. We could maybe even see some Oracle play, actually, off of that pylon on the left-hand side, like a proxy gateway, Stargate, rather. No, I stand corrected. A couple more gates do go down, so he's opting not to go that route just quite yet. I think that was just a forward pylon for forward warpins.
Yeah, and it does look like a 4-gate going down from ZergAssassin, so this is heavy aggression, one base play. There won't be a good solid transition out of this for ZergAssassin. He's gonna have to do quite a bit of damage just to not go way behind in the game, and let alone to win it outright. So this is definitely kind of putting the ball in Xenocider's court. Xenocider is gonna have to play defensive and recognize what's going on. Xenocider is actually sniping that pylon on the left side of the map, but a second one does go down near the third of the Terran base.
Yep, and let's just take a quick look at Xenocider's base. He does have that command center now switching over to orbital command. That is going to get floated over and into the natural. I don't think that's been scouted just quite yet. Let me just take a quick peek. No, it's not. So as it sits right now, that is actually going to be a huge benefit for Xeno. That being said, I mean, it was scouted early enough. He basically telegraphed exactly what he was going to do. When you see your opponent grabbing a barracks, grabbing a gas, he's probably going to expand behind that roach. That being said, being behind that Reaper as well. There's Stalkers now outside. There is a small force of Marines. It might be enough to hold off. This is going to require a little bit of skill in order to be able to pull off. And Stalkers are going to get on up the ramp, and one of them does fall very, very quickly indeed. Additional Marines Marines in productions. Tech Lab is going to finish on up. We can expect to see Marauders out. Yes, indeed we do. And Stim very quickly being researched as well. So Xenocider very comfortable indeed right now being able to hold. And he's throwing down a bunker down at the front of his ramp. He knows more is coming.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like that push that ZergAssassin just made, that was a big mistake. ZergAssassin is going to have to play brilliantly to come back from that, because he's shown what he did. He's shown so many units and so many stalkers that Xenocider is going to know that's a 4-gate. Okay, I know how to hold this. I can do that. And he's just going to secure the top of his ramp. He's not going to land that second orbital command in the natural anytime soon. He's going to just really fortify his base. He's going to have an upgrade advantage. And then once he gets stims and maybe some bunkers, he'll push out to the natural and then gear up for a timing and just wipe out ZergAssassin. That's going to be Xenocider's game plan.
No, absolutely. 1+1 weapons already finished off for Xenocider, so he's going to be feeling quite well. And like you said, this is something where ZergAssassin needs to make something happen now. If he waits too long and doesn't expand behind this and macro extremely aggressively behind this, Xenocider is going to have a great advantage, especially once this orbital command floats out. The only thing really as it sits right now that ZergAssassin has been successfully able to do is to stop Xeno from being able to move on out into that natural. He's basically been holding off on being able to do that. The pylon placement is quite good as well. He's got 2 of them ready for warpins. But as you can see, it looks like ZergAssassin's actually going to withdraw back to his natural.
Yeah, he decided that, okay, I've shown my hand. There's not really going to be any way I can bust against someone who's already got so much production and so many Marines. So he's going to back up, and ZergAssassin has both grabbed his Nexus, started robotics tech and getting observers, and is actually getting a robotics base so that he can go straight back into Colossus, back into a standard game, basically.
Yeah, this is very reminiscent of a Wings of Liberty build almost, save for the Reaper, of course. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is your standard Bio versus Gateway Colossus. But like you said, I mean, you can already look and see Xeno's already expanded out. He's got a good saturation of units. I mean, taking a look at the income tab, okay, they're fairly close, 36 to 33, but that Nexus is just finished. And mules are going to spell a good bit of difference. We take a look at the income tab really quickly. We can see that right now as it sits, Xenocider's got himself a nice, healthy income of minerals, 1,500 minerals a minute coming in, whereas right now as it sits, ZergAssassin quite behind with only 800.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And the Terran player is finishing up 1-1. He's already got +1 weapons, and then +1 armor is finishing up just right about now. And the first Colossus is going to make its way onto the field from ZergAssassin. And I'm expecting ZergAssassin to play. Well, I mean, honestly, truthfully, I'm not sure how I expect ZergAssassin to play. He's got a problem. He's got no upgrades, and he's on 2 bases, and he's got to deal with drops with not very many units, no upgrades, and on 2 bases. And it's going to be pretty difficult for him.
Yep, and the Widow Mine is not going to be able to burrow in time. Unfortunately, however, the other one looks like it is going to get into the ground. A drop has happened. Has the Widow Mine been cleaned out just quite? Yes. No, it gets a shot off on the Colossus, who tanks all of the damage for the most part, save for about 17 hit points, but the shields will regenerate very, very quickly. So that's been fended off reasonably well. Only a handful of workers killed, but those are all been done by the Reaper. At the end of the day, this has been held off very, very well. Again, this drop continuing on by Xenocider. ZergAssassin playing very, very well, being defensive and holding off and just trying to maintain control of his own base. However, that being said, that Widow Mine is still alive. And in fact, it's really, really well hidden behind the robotics bay in the back. You can almost barely see it if you're not looking for it. And it is getting shots off.
Yeah, and here comes a big engagement at the front of ZergAssassin's base. Bio is skimming and kiting backwards and forwards and evading force fields. One sentry gets sniped, more stalkers are going down, and the whole army of ZergAssassin is dead, and this is the game-ending push right here.
Yeah, this is not looking good. We can see that the probes are dying. This Nexus will fall. This will spell it. And yeah, he said it right well. 4-gate, not a good build at all. And that will do it. Victory for Xenocider, game number 1 in this best of 3. We'll be back in just a second for a quick commercial break, and then we'll get into game number 2 very shortly.